How nervous would you be running sound for a room full of sound engineers? I don't like mixing subs on an aux, and I don't want anyone else to. It sounds more musical when you don't. I don't care what people say, and I don't care about saying, oh, there's subs in the vocals. I high-passed her vocal to 240 hertz. And I think everything's high-passed, maybe even the kick drum. The guitars are way higher than guitar players like to see because I'm just trying to create space. Like in the studio, guitar high-passed to 80 is about the equivalent of live it being like 140.
So without further ado, let's give him a hand to Lee Fields.
Thanks, guys. Check, 1, 2. This is also the first sound check with the headset, omnidirectional, in front of the PA. Check, 1, 2. We good? That's pretty tough. How nervous would you be running sound for a room full of sound engineers? So I was thinking about you this morning when worship started. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't be that nervous, but it's like, you think church is bad. People like think, it's too loud, I want more. Now it's like, can we get a little more snare bottom on the left side of the room? Like, you know? Okay, Jake, thanks for having me. Appreciate the invite. It's funny because I think most of the online community think Jake and I hate each other because we had a little fun time on YouTube a few years ago. I actually did ask for a wing console, but Jake said they're all broken, so we don't have any. So I'm using this today. So now, you recently have changed your opinion on the wing, I think, haven't you? Because we became an integrator. Right. So now he's responsible for teaching people how to use them, and there's no instruction manual for them. So here we are with the Allen Heath. Okay. Let me just take a quick poll of the room. Production people, worship people. Awesome. Okay. So I was thinking about what to do today and put myself in the shoes of worship and production team members at churches. I've been doing this a long time, and you know, it just keeps coming back to, with churches, consistency. And you know, like Nathan made a joke about it this morning. He said, you do your total recall and then nothing recalls. And everybody laughs because there's like some truth to that, right? Well, what I wanted to do today, I've never done this before in multiple ways. So this console I've never used, and I'm gonna show you how to set up a system and a process for your volunteers to win behind the console. So raise your hand if your church uses volunteers to mix audio on weekends. Does anyone only have staff mix weekends? Not one person in the room. Okay. So how many of you are responsible, though, for the audio mix at your church? A lot of people. So here's the first thing I want to tell you. The quality of your mixing skill has nothing to do with how well you mix. It has everything to do with what it sounds like when you're not behind the console, when someone else is. So when I'm doing a concert for whatever band I'm doing, and some people want to come here like, oh, we want to hear Lee mix, I'm getting judged off my skill to mix that band. But when we're at church, it's actually not that. If you're the one responsible for the system, you're the audio director, you're training volunteers, it's actually what it sounds like when you're not even there. That's really the goal. And it's a big shift, right? Because if I'm setting this console up the way that I want to set it up, I'm going to do things differently than if it were a church with a team of volunteers. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. Okay, so you're going to hear me talk a lot today about sources, and because that's the most important thing. It actually has little to do with the gear, which is why I wanted to use a desk I've never used before. I did set this file up in the offline editor on my laptop. So I kind of know where things are, so it's all been labeled and routed and patched, but everything else is pretty empty. But when we talk about setting up a file for churches to make their volunteers succeed, it's a system and a process and has less to do with teaching them how to become a world-class engineer, okay? I've been doing this my whole life since I was a teenager. I've been playing music and then got behind a console. If I get behind this console and I'm teaching someone else, a volunteer at my church, how to use this, they're just never, ever, ever, ever going to be even nearly as good at this as me. But if this guy's also a dentist, I'm not gonna be as good at filling cavities, ever, okay? It's just not gonna happen. But what we can do is lower the hurdle as low as we can for them to win, okay? So when I get behind the console, let's say it's an A+. When they get behind the console, it's not gonna be an A+. It's just not. Even down to like, if I step away and the guy comes in and mixes the last half of the song, it's still not gonna be as good. I'm doing things that have taken me 25 years to figure out, even down to like micro fader moves and feeling the room, that's just not gonna translate. And he'd probably say the same thing about, oh, well, this one type of cavity on this one tooth, there's this little thing that, like, come on, like, it's just not gonna happen, right? I like to use the dentist as the example. I used a welder or muffler shop for a long time, but I felt like that, like, painted a weird picture about sound volunteers at churches, like they were only blue-collar grease monkeys. And so I was like, where can we go otherwise? And it was dentist. So that's where we're at. Okay, sources. So everything that's happening on stage will dictate how well the mix is. There's a couple things before that, and we're gonna address them right now. If we go as far upstream as possible in the audio experience of your church, somebody throw out, where does it actually start before the source is on the stage? Somebody said the room. It's the acoustics of the room, right? Before we even put sound system in, the shape of the room and the acoustics of the room. Then it's the sound system, then it's the sources. And by the way, I wanna make this a little interactive. Like, they did it. We're gonna do some Q&A at the end too, but if you have like a burning question, or if I say something, you're like, whoa, but what about this? We'll get a mic to you and we can, you can say it in the mic so everybody can hear it and I'll answer stuff. Okay, so the acoustics of this room. So real quick, we're gonna treat this room and put proper acoustics in it before I start. Can't do that. Okay, so it is what it is. So there are panels on the wall. I was listening this morning, and just with the playback for walk-in this morning, and I'm looking at the panels and the room shape and the walls. It's actually pretty good. And then I heard there's this short 800 to 4K reflection, and I thought, oh, maybe it's the glass. There's not that much glass. It's not that. It's the wood ceiling. So all that stuff you're hearing, it's really quick. That was good. It's because of the wood ceiling, and we're not going to treat that because it's beautiful, right? Next thing, the sound system. Jake, is this sound system temporary for the conference?
It's part of our upgrade here.
Okay.
These main speakers are going to eventually be side fills, and we're going to put line arrays up there.
Okay, got it. So for the recording, the speakers that are in here, there's some Meyer speakers on pole-mounted, subwoofer and pole-mounted speakers. I was looking around this morning, I'm like, where is the PA that's supposed to be in here? I was like, is it behind the acoustic panel? Because they have transparent panels sometimes. Okay, so the next thing is the PA. So before we do anything, I gotta make sure I'm happy with the PA. So I'm just gonna do exactly what I would do if I was going to do a concert, whether this is an arena or a coffee shop. This is exactly how this goes. Now I'm gonna make some assumptions that the PA is in the right spots. That's the next thing. So you have the acoustics, and then we're gonna point speakers at the right places. So those speakers, correct me here, but they're probably 80 or 90 degree dispersion speakers. 110 degrees, even better. The further we go with technology, the wider these things are getting. I was in a church in Fayetteville, and they had one in the middle of the room, and I could hear it everywhere, and I'm like, where's the fill? Because I was over on the sides. It was a 160 degree speaker. Works Audio makes it. I'm like, well, how are we doing this? Okay, so it's 110 degrees. If you can't see down the throat of the horn, if you could draw 110 degrees out of that, you can't hear it. It's pretty simple. So you have to actually point the speakers at the right places. So we're gonna make the assumption that they are pointed at the right spot, and the subwoofers, the levels, everything's correct. Now, when you buy a PA, especially now, what happens is the amplification and the processing are done by the manufacturers now, and it's set, and it's on purpose, so that the subwoofer and the tops play well, and they play nice with each other, timing and phase. So those top speakers, let's say they go down to 80 hertz, and the subwoofer starts at 80 hertz. It's not a brick wall. There's a crossover, and that crossover you have signal that goes down at a slope, and same thing for the subwoofers. Where that crossover happens in the middle, funny things happen with phase, and you get cancellation and summation. They've programmed the amps to compensate for that and get it as much in time alignment as we can. So we're not gonna mess with all that. So I'm not tuning the PA. Tuning the PA has a lot to do with time. What we're gonna do is really tone the PA. So once it's all in the right spots and it's in the right time and phase is playing nice with multiple speakers, right? They could be all over the room, delays, subwoofers everywhere, then we tone it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now, how do we do this? We play a Toto song, right? Okay, I don't play Toto songs because I got tired of them. And the point of like playing a song to tone it is not necessarily to find a great sounding mix. It's something that you know. It's something that when I play this, I know what it's supposed to sound like. And it almost doesn't matter. Like you could just use pink noise if you've memorized in your soul what pink noise is supposed to sound like on hundreds of PAs in different rooms. In theory, you could do that, but that'd be really boring and I would leave and I'd probably fire you too. So I'm gonna use a very high quality fidelity audio system. I'm gonna play back a Spotify MP3 that I've downloaded this morning of a song that I know, and I use this song a lot. I have an instrumental version, and I have a version with lyrics. It is clean, but you'd be surprised when you go into churches and you start playing music that's not Stephen Curtis Chapman, and they want you to leave. So I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna turn it up to about like show level or church level. Sorry, I'm like sacrilege here all morning. And then I'm just gonna listen for a minute. And the other thing to note is we're in stereo here. Guess who's getting stereo in this room? I'm the only person. So that speaker and that speaker are combining here at the same time for only me. So the low mids are gonna couple here and the subs are gonna couple here only. So when you have a left speaker and a right speaker, that's known as a power alley. So right in front of that subwoofer, that section of the room, let's say it's getting 100% of that sub, this one's getting 100%. Where I'm standing, it's getting a combination of both, but just off center where you are, it's canceling. And then in the middle, it's hot again. And then right over there in the white jacket, it's canceling. So you're gonna get big dips in the low frequency across the room and you can walk across and hear it. So I'm gonna mix with the subs pretty hot right here because I know that they're spread out left and right and you all want to feel the kick drum in your chest.
Hey, I'm gonna interrupt this amazing masterclass from Lee for just a moment to tell you about Churchfront Conference coming up this year. You'll learn about the details and the dates down below. Churchfront Conference is for church leaders, worship leaders, production leaders. We are bringing in guest experts from around the country to speak on topics like leadership, musicianship, and technology. So if you want to stay on the cutting edge of the latest strategies for your ministry, you're going to want to join us, and it's a great place to network with like-minded, passionate leaders in ministry. So click the link down below. Make sure you take advantage of the early bird discount code while it's still available, and we can't wait to see you there.
Will you turn my mic off when it's really loud? So I'm gonna make you work a little bit. Okay. Or just duck it down a lot because I'll hear it coming back. Back on. Okay, so just real quick what I'm hearing, the sub level's fine, but there's some like weird stuff like 100 or 200, and then there's some high mid stuff I wanna look at. So I'm gonna turn it back on, and I'm just gonna put an EQ on the left, right of this console. The right way to do this is in the processor with EQ and filters that are designed, again, to keep everything playing nicely with phase and time and all those things. So the cut I made there sounds awesome here, and then as soon as I get over here, it's like, oh, it's too much. So I'm gonna mix muddy for me here a little bit. I like that. Is everybody hearing that? When I cut that out, are we good? Okay, so now it's a little crispy. Meyer speakers are like perfect. What goes in comes out. It doesn't color much. They're like studio monitors in a world-class studio that get loud. That's kind of their thing. Okay, we're getting closer. The hi-hat should not be that crispy. Just again, I know what I want this to sound like, so that when I start mixing this band, it's gonna respond the way that I know it's gonna respond. So I'm gonna try to take a little bit off of this. It could be the acoustics. Like it could be the ceiling coming back at me, what I'm hearing, but we'll see. Okay, I didn't really like it one way or the other, so I'm just gonna leave it. And once we start listening to tracks, if I keep like cutting out the same 8K over and over and over and over, then I know I can probably take that out. Or it's the ceiling and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, any questions so far? How much time we got left? 23, oh my gosh. Okay, I wanted to spend 30 minutes on the kick drum alone. We can't do that anymore, but that's what everyone's used to. Okay, so I'm gonna go pretty fast here. So I'm gonna start with the kick drum. One kick mic, snare, 2 toms, overheads. Bass guitar, 2 electrics. I think it's 1 keyboard player. It's outputting keys and pads separately. A handful of tracks and some vocals. 1 drum verb, 1 vocal effects, okay? The message I want you to get here is like simple. So I'm not gonna use any plugins. I'm not gonna use any of the extra onboard stuff that you have to pay for extra. I'm gonna use console compressor, console EQ, and 2 reverbs. Okay, kick drum. That's Spotify. Check, check. Maybe I want to pull this mic back a little bit. Check, 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 check. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be fun. EQ, and I am gonna gate this quickly. So the gate. Now EQ. Okay, moving on. Snare drum. And it's the bridge. They just play toms and bridges now. I don't know. Like Nathan's joke this morning about drummers. I have the same pet peeve about drummers. And every worship song has the exact same drum part for the last 10 years. You could copy one album into the next. It's the same drum fills, it's the same everything, and it's stupid. Okay. You guys hear that ring in the snare drum? Check this out. All right, snare bottom. And now blend these two together. I'll turn the top up and then fade the bottom snare into it. The bottom, I'm just trying to get the sizzle, just the super high end. Not enough, so I'm gonna put more top end in this. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna add reverb, and I already have this dialed in. It's just a hall, 2.3 seconds. Okay, now I like to go to overheads. Okay, now the kick drum's not bright enough, so once you start adding everything in relation to each other, that's when you're like start making micro changes. Okay, we're gonna see if we can find some toms quickly. Thank you, thank you. I usually don't gate the snare, no, because the way it's tuned and the genre, there's lots of ghost notes happening, so I don't like to gate it. Also, we don't have a lot of bleed, except for the hi-hat, which I maybe have used a hi-hat mic once in my entire life, because that. Okay. Now I need to set the gates of the tom, but the most important thing is not to use the toms, to use everything else. So I don't care if those are playing during this. Okay, so the attack time will make your drum too dark if it's too slow. So I'll take it to its fastest and watch how much brighter the drum gets. Right there. Okay, does this have a copy and paste? Copy, paste. I don't think it worked, but hold the paste button down. So hold copy, hit select.
Yep.
And then select this channel, hold paste, hit select. Look at that. Okay, so the tom gate needs adjusted. It did paste the EQ. Hey, they're close. Okay, drums are done. Bass guitar. And we're gonna mute that DCA. How much? 14 minutes. Okay, we're gonna go real fast. And then I'll tell you why the file will work. Now check that with the drums. Okay, we're in good shape. Moving on to guitars. Okay, pan. There it is. We're gonna do the guitars in mono because it's basically the same. And you have a mono PA over here, and you have a mono PA over here. So I'm not gonna do much panning. Okay, keys. That needs a compressor. That made the piano darker. So, but, some compressors are going to do that, and I was told that the stock compressor on this does not sound amazing. So we're going to do this. Here's the pad. Okay, tracks. Okay, that takes care of the band. We have how much time left? I was like, wait a second. Okay, awesome. Okay, now the band is pretty dang close. So question.
When you have a band that has tracks, what's your preferred
Amount?
So you don't want to send everything
Right.
to the channel.
Okay, tracks. What to do with tracks and how I like to split out. I do like them split. This is not my preferred way to split it. Here's what I would do. I would have a pair that's like a catch-all. So it's all of the things. And then a pair that I would call hooks. So you hear that synth part, that da, 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 da. It's like a call and response to the melody. I like that stuff on its own fader so that I can juice that stuff, turn it down, turn it up to make sure that that stuff comes through. I like perk on its own as long as there's no kick drum on it. So I don't love two kick drums on anything because they flam. There's no way the drummer and the track kick drum are going to play at the same time, and they both have low end information. So you get the attack flam, and the low end flam just causes cancellation. So get it out of there. And then guitars and stuff, like I would just put it in the catch-all, but I also don't love it when the guitar on the track is also playing what's on stage. So then you're just gonna make me pick, like which one's it gonna be? And then if there's vocals, then the vocals separate. This one does have vocal tracks. Yeah, let's listen to those. Here's what I like to do with these is make them sing like a gang vocal. So these are really processed studio vocals, but I want it to sound like the congregation singing in a bad sounding church. And then when I sneak it in the mix, it's not this obvious, like, listen to all those fake vocals. So I'll do something kind of like that so that when it's all together, It's something like that. Like that's a bit much on the 800 1K there. It's a little less than that, but that's how I like to treat the gang vocal. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And then the band needs click. The band needs click. And then a guide track's always great. If you haven't heard a guide track before, it'd be like bridge, 2, 3, 4, or just remind people what song they're singing. Like, yeah, how great is our God? On 3, 1, things like that. Okay, let's look at the vocal. There's not supposed to be verb yet. Let's see, mute.
Lord can bear the name Yahweh Adonai, sovereign God, be glorified. Yahweh, Yahweh, there is no one like you. There is no one like you, no one like you. Alone can bear the name Yahweh Adonai, sovereign God, be glorified. Yahweh, Yahweh, there is no one like you. There is no one like you. No one like you.
Okay, this is a good thing to talk about. So I don't know if you guys heard that. So the low mid in the vocal when it was being compressed was really coming through. Compressors are stupid. Okay, they're dumb. They're going to compress whatever signal's coming in at full range. Low frequency to high frequency, it doesn't care. And if you think about the signal going into this compressor in an RTA, like think about the frequency spectrum going in, it probably looked like this, like it sloped. There was a lot more low mid going into that than there was anything else. And it was hitting so hard, it was making the whole thing do this weird thing and it got muddy. So you have two choices. You can go and EQ more out of the low mid, but then when she's singing normal, then it's too thin. So this compressor has a high pass filter. So we're high passing now into the compressor and that fixed it. So listen to the difference. Here, it's on right now, so I'm gonna turn it off.
No one like you can bear the name.
Right there, bear the name, those long vowel sounds, that's what's gonna do it. Fun fact also, your SPL meters, those long vowel sounds in the vocal are your peaks. Your highest numbers in the service A weighted slow will be long vowel sounds in the 4 to 800 range. Okay, now here it is back on.
There is no one like you. There is no one like you. No one like you can bear the name.
See the difference? So it just cut maybe like another 2 dB away, so it's not as muddy as it was. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now I'm gonna add the verb, if I know how to use this console. Can you EQ the send on these? Okay, so then I'm gonna go, that's the return. It's in the effect. Oh, okay. So I want to cut low mid out of the send. That's not possible, is it?
Oh, we can get. It's not on the surface. I can throw it on there.
The verb is too muddy.
Yeah, I can throw the sound on the surface.
Okay. So EQ your sends into the verb. Don't EQ your returns, because the reverb sounds different when you EQ the signal going into it than just trying to EQ the sound of the verb coming out, especially with vocals and drums. So the low mid that we're hearing is going into that verb, and that's, again, what's driving the hottest part of the verb. I want to cut that out. I want the sizzly, bright stuff. So you can't do it? Okay. Well, all right, I'm done. Okay. Okay, that is what it is. I'm just going to high pass that verb way higher than I probably normally would have. Let's go back here.
Yahweh Adonai, sovereign God, be glorified. Yahweh, Yahweh, there is no one like you.
Okay, here's another thing just happened. The pre-delay on vocal reverbs, if they're too fast, it can make the verb sound a little muddy. So if you crank it up to like 100 milliseconds, the transient of the vocal comes through without the verb behind it. So here it is at 0.
Be glorified. Yahweh, Yahweh.
Here it is at 115.
No one like you. There is no one like you. No one like you. Alone can be.
Cool? Just these little differences we're making, right? The compressor, you can get a little more clarity. The reverb, you get a little more clarity. Okay, now let's listen to, do we want background vocals? Then that's funny, everybody always buries the background vocals. I do like a background vocal if they're singing in tune. Y'all like them out of tune. Cool. We got another one, maybe. We got them on the track. We'll use them on the tracks. All right, I'm gonna unmute everything and give this a listen. I also realize I'm probably way louder than anybody's church in here. Am I? Is anybody close to this? Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. You want more volume, or is that okay? Give the people what they want. This is Florida. Okay, perfect. 5 minutes left. Okay, here's the point of this. You're like, Lee, but you said that this was a way to have volunteers be able to mix well in services. Here's the thing. The amount of time I just spent on this, you all should be doing times 100, right? When you set your initial file up. When this gets set, it's based on all those things we talked about. The room, the PA's in the right place, the sources. So the other giant assumption is that we've spent a lot of time tuning the drums. We've spent a lot of time putting great drum heads on the drum kit. We've spent a lot of time tuning the drums. No one seems to do that anymore. The guitar player's tones, we've worked on them. The track levels, the bass guitar, how the strings on the guitar sound, how the pedals on the guitar sound, the keys patch. We spent $3,500 on the Nord MIDI controller. That's a joke. Running main stage. But we got a red keyboard for Instagram. And vocal mic, like the whole thing, right? All of that has to be set before this. Now, once this hits, here's the most important thing. And I hadn't talked about this, but I hope you saw me doing it. I checked the gain level on every single channel. Everything was at analog 0, okay? So the one thing universal with signal level in audio is analog 0. Every console meter is a little different, but it all translates to analog 0 at some point. So that could be minus 18 on your console. It could be minus 20. It could be minus 12. You need to figure out what that is. And then you decide as a team what your number is. Because here's what's going to happen. Let's say this is our new file. We call this Churchfront default front of house. And you hit save. And then it's Sunday morning and you walk up to the console and you load the default file. And then you immediately save as November 5th, 2025. And that default file did not get changed. And every single week, you go up to the console, you load the default file. And the very first thing you do is you line check. Line check is when we make sure all the instruments are plugged in the right places, because that's the first thing coming into the console. Then you're going to sound check, which is making sure the instruments are outputting the right volume, and you're checking gains. So before you make a single change, before you turn a compressor threshold, before you give the drummer less BGVs, you're going to make sure the gain is right on everything, because all the thresholds I just sent are just set, all of the EQ, all of the sends to the reverb, none of that works unless the preamp is at the right level. It's the first thing in the signal chain. So we've checked the patch, then we check the input level. Then what's going to happen is, if something's different, it's because something's different on stage. It's like the guitar player's outputting differently, or something else is going on, or he changed his tone, because everything here is correct. So what Nathan said this morning about total recall and nothing recalled, you can fix that if you use this principle. And then the band can do rehearsal. So rehearsal is not sound check. Anybody? Amen. I stole this from someone, but here's what most churches do. They line check during sound check, they sound check during the rehearsal, and then they rehearse during the first service. So you just have to back that up one step. That you line check when you line check, you sound check when you sound check, and rehearse at rehearse. Notice I didn't say practice. Practice musicians need to do before they even get to rehearsal. That's at home. That's practice time is not at the church. Okay. This is a church in Atlanta. They're a great team. 2 minutes left. They've spent a lot of time on this. I hope that what I'm about to do works. I have another church. It's a different drum kit. One's in Georgia, one's in California. I'm going to just play those files back through here, and all I'm going to do is change the gain and see how close it is. Now, it's a different set of microphones, so it's probably going to be a little different. But the point I'm trying to prove is, if you stick to the system, you're lowering the bar for your volunteers to win, okay? And then after that, I have another drum kit. These are expensive drum mics. I have another drum kit. It's all SM57s, and they're all used. And you can buy them on reverb.com for $60. So then we're going to listen to that. Okay, here. I really hope this works. So I'm going to turn the master down, and then with no noise, check all the levels. Okay, so the kick drum. This one. All right, close. No kick out. We had one kick mic. Snare bottom. I'm hitting analog 0. That's the scale it's showing me here. There's an actual 0. Hi-hat we never used. I gotta find a tom. Here comes 1, 3, 2. There it was. Tom 2 is about the same. Overheads are real hot. Bass guitar. Is there not a bass? Oh, that's the 57s. Dang it. Good. So this is literally what you're going to do at church. Like you're just going to, you don't even have to listen. As long as they're playing and they're sending their loudest and not sandbagging. That's another one. You pick the number and just verify and then make the adjustments. I found with drummers, you hardly ever even have to change the gain from one drummer to the other. It's really, really close. And because most of the microphones are dynamic also, they're not as responsive. Things that you do have to change are direct instruments, guitars, keyboards. Your tracks are all going to be the same. And vocalists, like how do you pick a number? You just have to get it close and give them enough headroom that they're not going to clip anything, and then just make sure your compressors are happy. Okay, we're on to bass. There we go, a little hotter. Guitars, a little more. That guitar's hot. No guitar 2 on this. Keys is hot. Keys 2 is quiet. Tracks, be a little hotter. Just one pair of tracks on this. Vocals, send some more. Okay, here we go. Pro Tools is trying to freeze on me.
Are standing on your faithfulness, oh God. I need you now, I need you now. God, moving power now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You are a healer. You are a healer.
So yeah, it's pretty close. I mean, it's right. It's like you get all the levels right, and there was nothing like too crazy. It's just fader moves at that point. Obviously, one song to the other, you're gonna have to change. You got to move the faders. The point is that just by setting the gain levels, like the compressors are pretty close. It's pretty dang close. So it's like a dentist can do that. Like, oh, the violin's loud, turn it down. Good job, go root canal, yay. I know I'm over time. Can I play that drum, the SM57s real quick? Okay. This is why you don't use Pro Tools in your broadcast mixes. Maybe not. Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Thank you, Lee. Amazing, right? Amazing. Just simple ticks in your brain that might stay for your transition back to your home church, and hope that was helpful. We have time briefly for a little bit of Q&A, so we're going to kind of keep us moving through the morning. But any questions right now that for our speaker, Lee, to address? We got one right up here on the front. It might come in your way.
Do you get your hearing checked, and if so, how often?
Probably, I'd have had it checked. How often? Probably not often enough. Not trying to pat myself on the back, but I had the highest score in the Sacramento Kaiser system in the hearing test in the history of the test. That happened. That was cool. I was not expecting that, but I come out of the little chamber and they're like, no one's ever scored that high. I was like, oh, okay.
Next question.
I do have tinnitus. I think everybody has a little, but I for sure have that. Yeah.
All right. I have a question.
Yeah.
When you were EQing in isolation, do you want to talk about what was going through your mind?
Yeah. So with EQ, I hear a sound in my head of what I want the instrument to sound like. So I have a library of sounds in my head from listening to music for my whole life. So when I heard that snare drum, I immediately knew that sounds like a Black Beauty. It sounds like a 57. This is a rock band. They want to be like Coldplay. So I have the picture of the drum kit in my head of where I'm going to get to. And because I'm so familiar with what EQ will do to certain things, I'm now turning knobs, like driving a car to get to the destination. That's what I'm thinking about, but with every instrument. So the way to do that is you have to study music, not theory. You have to study. When you listen to a Bruce Springsteen album, you try and think like the kick drum. Okay, it sounds like it's pretty hollow. That microphone sounds like it's on the outside of the drum. I wonder if it was an 80s D112 or was that a Beta 52? Oh, I wonder, maybe it's a ribbon. Oh, there is some high end in that. That could be a ribbon. So I do that with every instrument, and the more experience and exposure you have, the bigger your library gets in your head. So when I hear like, oh, it sounds muddy, I know that's low mid. I do big moves on EQ. I don't care what it looks like. I do not care what it looks like. I care what it sounds like. So then I'm just turning knobs trying to get to that destination.
Yeah. My question is, for the main PA, do you drive yourself through a bus or do you just do left and right? And the second question is, I don't see you using much of high-pass filter. So is that because of the PA?
The subs are on the left, right. I don't like mixing subs on an aux, and I don't want anyone else to. It sounds more musical when you don't. I don't care what people say, and I don't care about saying, oh, there's subs in the vocals. I high-passed her vocal to 240 hertz. I did use a lot of high-pass filters. You guys can have this file too, by the way, if you want it. And I think everything's high-pass, maybe even the kick drum. The guitars are way higher than guitar players like to see because I'm just trying to create space. Like in the studio, a guitar high pass to 80 is about the equivalent of live it being like 140, almost a whole other octave because subs.
We'd love to see you at this year's Churchfront Conference. Check out the link below. Take advantage of the early bird discount codes that are available just for a limited time. You can go ahead and snag some tickets for yourself and your entire team. We look forward to seeing you there.